beautiful souls, and welcome back to my story. In this series, I am just going 15-minute videos at a time, recounting the story of my life, for reasons. So anyways, where was I? Okay, so I had just met Dave, and he asked me, he proposed to me to be his girlfriend, and yeah, TMI, we we went all the way after that. And then honestly, I thought that he wasn't ever gonna call me again. I was like, this boy just pretended to want to be my boyfriend so that, he could get his cookies, and his cookies weren't even good, because I had never experienced anything like that before in my whole entire life. So, where the guy didn't get off, and where I did multiple times, but he didn't at all. So it was crazy. So, anyway, a lot of TMI for this part of the story, but honestly, it's a part of the story. So, okay, but Dave does call back, and yeah, Dave calls me. He calls me and he wants to hang out again, and yeah, basically we start hanging out all the time. He was preparing for a deployment, and I guess they just didn't have a lot to do, because he would be over at my house like all the time. And he asked me if I would wait for him, and my experience of waiting on Zach, of course, was a completely different story. I was waiting on, now guy's asking me to wait while he goes to war, which is different than go to prison. But because of that, I was weary, and I told him that I needed to think about it, and he's like, I understand. And yeah, but we were together all the time, and we were getting freaky like every day. And I wasn't on birth control yet. I had an appointment for birth control, and I let him know that, and we were using condoms half of the time. And oh my goodness, I remember I told him one of the dates, I was like, dates don't have to be expensive. You don't have to spend a lot of money on dates. So why don't we just go to one of the public parks with the kids and just enjoy the day? And he was like, that sounds awesome. Let's go do it. And we get there, and I can't remember what I did, but I remember it was me. I was the one that did it. I locked the keys in the car with the car on and the baby in there. It was crazy. And we had to call a locksmith and everything, and oh my goodness, it ended up costing a lot of money. So his cheap date ended up costing him a lot of money. So that's crazy. And yeah, we were together all the time. Also, during this time, I think that I told you that I had lost my job at Old Time Photo. My daughter was in the hospital, and then I abused my privilege, I guess, to call in to work. So I ended up, I was looking for a job, and I was so desperate to get a job. And, I didn't want to mess up my relationship with Dave, and I didn't want to seem like, like trying to sponge off of him or anything, like I'm trying to be with him for any other reason than he's who he is. But I called Zach, and I asked Zach to send some extra money for child support that month, because I was doing really bad. And he did. He sent me $100 here and $100 there. I called him a couple times asking for some money, and he would send like $100, $150, I think he sent one time. But it helped me to make rent so that I could continue to look for a job. And I remember this one time, I wanted to work at as like a hotel desk clerk, because basically my customer service skills are off the charts. They are off the charts. I just, as long as I know what I'm doing in my job and I know how to handle the situation, I know the protocol for the situation, I can be calm in any situation, and I can show love and support to people in amazing ways. I'm so happy to spread happiness with others. And so I feel like being a hotel desk clerk is a job that can do that. I know that sounds weird, but that's what I was looking for. And I had gone on a couple interviews, and I remember, looking back at that time, I was smoking cigarettes, and I would like smoke out the whole car before going into the interview because I was so nervous, and I was probably just reeking of smoke going in. And I was so nervous. I have no people skills. I mean, as far as trying to sell myself, I'm so bad at selling myself. I don't want to sell myself. I'm who you think, what do you think I am? Do you think I'm worth your time or not? I don't know. I don't want to be like, I'm this, I'm that. Believe me. Like, I can't stand that. And I don't like selling myself. And so job interviews, I just fall so flat. And I remember just failing this interview because, like, I'm a social chameleon. As far as going to the party, I can talk to anyone. I'm a social chameleon. I can talk to anyone. I can get along with anyone. And like I can sense when you're annoyed, when and I can like just be annoyed with you, and stuff like that. I can sense people, and I could sense that I was saying the wrong answers every single time. I don't know what it was, but it was awful, and it was just like destroying my self-esteem. It really was. Like, I couldn't get a job at all. And I knew that one thing I can do is I'm very, very good at math. I'm just exceptional at math. I'm really good at people. So there was a tutoring agency, and I had hooked up with them, and I was able to tutor people for math and tutor high school students and college students. There's a lot of college students that I was tutoring, and I was getting paid for that. So that was helping a lot, but it wasn't a whole lot, It was $20 here, $50 there, not a whole lot. And I don't know, it was really tough. It was a tough time. I was just getting rejected. It felt like rejection. But I'd met Dave, and whenever I wasn't getting rejected for a job, Dave was around, and it was beautiful, So I guess you kind of get high on love, But yeah, I remember at this time I had a job interview at Victoria's Secret, and I wanted that job so much. I was like, I can't wait. Really hope I get this job. I don't think I'm that pretty, but maybe, I don't know. But I did not. I failed that interview. It was awful. It just was. But, it is what it is. I did end up getting a job. I got a job at, it was a clothing store at the mall that I got a job, and I was folding clothes in the back, and it was pretty cool. So it was chill. I did end up getting a job. It took a while, and I mean, it was tough times for sure. But yeah, I was dating Dave, and I was falling in love, and I wanted him to fall in love with me, and I was hoping that he was falling in love. But I did something that I don't recommend. Yeah, I don't recommend it. I wanted a family. I wanted a family so bad. And, it's like I was willing to do anything for it. But, I did a love spell. I did a little love spell, and whether it worked or not doesn't matter. I don't recommend it because when you do a love spell on someone, it's like you begin to, there's this, do they love me or is it just the spell? You know, whether it worked or not, do they love me or do I just have them hypnotized, Am I a bad person? I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you're an overthinker. Don't do love spells. But I did. I did a love spell, and I did a lot of things to ensure that he would love me. And it was shortly after that he was at my apartment, and we were just laying down watching The Simpsons. I remember it was The Simpsons, and he whispers in my ear, "I love you," and I freak out because, oh my gosh, is this really happening? I like jump up and I'm like, "What did you just say?" And he was like, "I love you," and I was like, "Are you sure?" I don't know. It was crazy. But yeah, we were together all the time and we fell in love. And I told him that I was willing to wait on him. I asked him, what are the rules? Because I don't necessarily need sex in my life. I'm fine without it. But after a while, I do crave it a little bit. And, he was going to be gone for over a year. It was like a 15-month deployment. So, and I remember asking Zach if, using dildos would be considered cheating, and Zach said yes. And I did use dildos, but I guess I did cheat on Zach, according to his definition, because he said if I used them, then I would be cheating, and so I guess I did. So, I don't consider using dildos cheating, but I do think that every relationship defines itself, and the people in it is the ones that define it. So it's the person that you're with that's going to define cheating for you. And so I wanted to make that clear with Dave, and Dave was like, no. And so we went to a store and bought one together, because he's like, I want to be with you. I want to be a part of it, kind of thing. And it was a lot of fun, I think, but I don't think I ever used it. I used it to take pictures for Dave while he was over there. Because I'm fine. I'm fine going without it. It's really not that big of a deal, especially with my kids, and of course spoiler alert, I'm getting pregnant with Dave's kid, pretty much. So, because it did take me a while to get my job, and because I couldn't continue to ask Zach to pay my rent, and I ended up failing on my rent, and I knew that I needed to move out. And basically I told Dave that I was going to have to go back to my home state, because my dad will let me stay with him, but he wasn't going to help me stay here. And Dave got me he got a whole nother apartment for me, this time on the basement level. It was just, from the parking lot straight into my apartment. And it was so cool, because it was so much better. So much better. So he bought that apartment for me so that we could move in, me and my daughters. And he was there all the time. So it was really cool. And yeah, I was falling in love. And it was crazy days. So that's all that I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening to my story. It really means the world to me that people out there actually care. So that's really cool. And I truly, truly, truly hope and pray that you are blessed with love. That's all she got.